Story 1. It wasn't empty. They always say solitude clears the mind. That's why I went out there deep into the Greenwater Range where the trails thin into game paths, and even the rangers stopped marking the maps. Just me, my pack, and 4 days to forget who I was supposed to be. I never intended to find anything. I wasn't searching for ghosts or monsters. I wasn't chasing a story. I just wanted the quiet. The first day was uneventful. I set up camp beside a shallow creek, cooked some chili, and watched the stars until I fell asleep. The next morning, I left my tent standing and went exploring without a plan, just following the ridge lines and listening to the wind. That's when I found the path. It was faint, nearly swallowed by brush and roots, but definitely man-made. Old boards were half buried in the soil like the remnants of a walkway. Curiosity tugged at me. I followed it. After about half a mile, I saw the roof through the trees. The cabin was older than anything I'd seen in the forest. Its wood gone grey and soft with rot. The porch partially collapsed. Windows boarded from the inside. No smoke from the chimney, no signs of life. It should have been dead. And yet, the door wasn't latched, just slightly ajar. Waiting, I told myself I'd just take a peek. Just enough to satisfy the itch. It was dark inside. The air smelled like mulled iron, and something faintly sweet like spoiled meat left in the sun. My flashlight caught dust dancing through the beams, swirling in strange patterns. The floor groaned under every step. A few old furnishings lingered, a stone hearth, an overturned table, and a broken cabinet, and a chair, facing the trapdoor in the middle of the room. The trapdoor wasn't hidden. It was right there in plain sight, framed by thick planks and a rusted iron ring. The wood around it was worn smooth to smooth, like it had been touched too often. There were scratches around the edge, human-looking, like someone or something had tried to claw their way out, or in. I should have left then. I even turned to go. But that damn chair, it was facing the trapdoor, like someone had been watching it, guarding it. And there was a single item on the seat, a Polaroid. I picked it up. It was old, color faded. It showed a group of 4 people in front of this very cabin, smiling awkwardly, arms around each other. Behind them, just visible through the cracked door, was a pale face. Thin, watching, not smiling. My stomach turned. I put the photo down and backed out. I didn't sleep that night. I kept hearing things, branches cracking, something dragging through leaves. At one point, I swear I heard knocking, distant, rhythmic. When I finally passed out just before dawn, I dreamt of the trapdoor. Something was knocking from underneath it, softly at first, then more urgently. 3 raps, then silence. 3 more, closer. I woke up sweating, my sleeping bag twisted around me. But the worst part, the absolute worst, was the sound of footsteps just beyond the fabric of my tent. Bare feet, slow, deliberate. I held my breath until the sun rose. At first light, I hiked straight back to the cabin. I don't know why. Maybe to prove it wasn't real, that it hadn't followed me, that my mind was just unraveling in the silence. But when I got there, the door was wide open, and the chair was knocked over. The trapdoor was open. There was no bottom, just blackness, like the stairs led into the earth itself. I couldn't see how deep it went, but I swear I heard something breathing down there. Wet, laboured, alive. I turned and ran. I left my gear, my tent, everything. I just kept going until I hit the access road and flagged down a logging truck like a madman. I didn't talk about it for a long time, tried to forget. But last week, I moved into a new apartment. I was unpacking boxes and came across a Polaroid I don't remember taking. 4 people in front of a cabin. Only now, I'm one of them. I'm smiling awkwardly like the rest. And behind us, in a doorway, there's that pale face again, closer this time. No one I show the picture to recognizes the others. I keep hearing the knocking again, soft, rhythmic. Last night, it came from my closet. 3 raps, then silence. 3 more. It's not in the woods anymore. It found a way out, and it's still watching. Story 2. It waits where the trees thicken. You ever been somewhere so quiet, you swear you can hear your own blood moving? That's how it was out in Calder Woods. Thick pine, no trails, no signs, just wilderness that swallowed sound like it hated it. I didn't go there for peace. I went there because I was dead. 3 of us, me, Brian, and Milo, had been talking up this over camper weekend for months. No phones, no maps, just a compass and whatever you could carry. We split up after the first hour to make it more authentic. Regroup in 3 days at the creek fork. No exceptions. First night, I camped beside a stone outcrop. Nothing unusual. Owls calling, wind through needles. But I swear, sometime past midnight, I heard whistling. Just 3 notes, rising. Thought it might be Brian messing with me. Next morning, I tried to find where it came from. I wasn't scared, just curious. About half a mile west, I found a deer carcass, or what was left of it. Ribs snapped open like a book. No blood, no tracks, just steam rising in the cold morning air. Something about it felt off. It wasn't just killed, it was posed. That afternoon, I spotted smoke through the trees. Figured maybe Brian or Milo had cheated, brought matches, but when I got closer, I realized the smoke wasn't from a fire. It was just rising thin white from the chimney of a cabin that shouldn't be there. No trail led to it, no road, just earth and roots and a crooked building sitting like a splinter in the woods. It was old, rough-hewn logs, moss overtaking the roof, shuttered windows, but it wasn't abandoned. The smoke was real. I should have walked away, but I knocked. No answer. I pushed the door open and immediately gagged. It smelled like wet leaves, meat, and rot. The inside was shadowed only one small oil lamp burning near the back wall. Its flame sickly yellow. I called out, "Hello?" No response. There were chairs, 3 of them, facing the far wall. On that wall, in black charcoal, were drawings. Dozens of them. Same image, repeated. A cabin. Always a cabin. But in every picture, something hovered in the trees nearby. Tall. Wrong. It looked like a man at first, but the proportions were of arms too long, head tilted sideways like it didn't understand how to wear it. And eyes, always drawn last, 2 wide white circles in the black, staring straight out. Something rustled upstairs. I froze. There was a stairway near the far end, narrow and steep. I could hear something up there soft shifting, like someone moving barefoot across wood. I backed toward the door, careful not to make it creak. Then a voice came from upstairs. "Don't look at it," whispered, breathless, close. I bolted, didn't even shut the door behind me. I ran until I couldn't breathe, then climbed a ridge and watched the cabin from the trees. That's when I realized there was no chimney. There hadn't been smoke. I set up camp far away that night. No fire, no food, just silence and the pounding in my ears. Around midnight, the whistling came again. 3 notes, but this time it was closer. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I tried to find the meeting point early. I made it there by noon. Brian never showed. Milo did, but he was wrong. He looked like himself, talked like himself, but he didn't blink enough, didn't ask me anything. Just sat by the creek, staring across the water like he was waiting for something. I said, "Did you see the cabin?" He paused, too long, then nodded once, slowly. Then he said, "It remembers you now." I left at night. Didn't care about the rules anymore. Got lost twice before I hit the highway. Drove 5 hours without stopping. Slept in the gas station parking lot with the doors locked. Brian still missing. I told the police. Told them about the drawings. The thing in the woods. The voice. They looked at me like I needed sleep and a long vacation. Sent a few search teams out. Found nothing but a mutilated elk carcass near the ridge. They say people see things in isolation, that the mind invents monsters to fill the silence. I believe that too, if not for what I found in my pack when I got home. Tucked into the bottom, wrapped in old cloth, was a charcoal drawing. A cabin, and something tall in the trees, its face turned toward the viewer. I burned it. Of course I did. But some nights, just after midnight, I hear those same 3 notes whistled from the dark tree line behind my house. Soft, patient. It waits where the trees thicken. And it remembers me. Story 3. The cabin at Deadfall Hollow. They don't put it on the maps anymore. Deadfall Hollow, used to be an old logging site, long before the park boundaries expanded. Now it's just marked as unmaintained wilderness in fine grey print. Rangers pretend it's not there. Locals just raise their eyebrows and say don't go down that way. but they never say why. Of course, I went. I had this romantic idea of solitude. A week in the back country, journal by the fire, that kind of thing. Thought maybe I'd come back with a short story, something meaningful. Instead, I came back with a limp, a scar I can't explain, and a voice that still wakes me up at night. It started normal enough. I hiked 2 days of trail, well beyond where any people had been recently. My GPS cut out once I got past Devil's Switch. I set up camp by a stream near the base of the hollow. Everything felt too quiet. No birds, no bugs, just the trickle of water and the distant creak of old trees swaying. That night, around AM, I woke up suddenly, not from a sound, from a feeling, like the woods were holding their breath. I sat up, unzipped the tent flap, and listened. Then I heard it. Wood creaking, not branches, not wind, floorboards. I knew it instantly. The long groan of warped wood shifting under weight. It was maybe 50 yards to the east. I shined my flashlight that way, but the trees were too dense to see far. I didn't sleep after that, just sat up in my bag, knife in hand, eyes wide. The next morning, I followed the sound. I wasn't sure why. Maybe I needed to know what was out there. After 20 minutes of hiking through tangled brush and brambles, I found it. A cabin, hidden so well that if I'd come 20 feet from another angle, I would have missed it. It leaned hard to one side, partially collapsed on the back end. Moss crawled up the walls like veins. The front door hung open, not swinging propped, deliberately. I stepped inside. Dust covered everything. The roof had holes in it, casting pale shafts of light. Furniture long rotted, a table with one leg broken, a rocking chair with claw marks along the arms, and a fireplace choked with old bones. But there was something else. A bedroll in the corner, fresh. Beside it, a pair of boots, still wet with mud. And beside that, a journal. I opened it. Most of the pages were ruined, water damaged, but I could make out bits. Been hearing it outside every night. Never sees me, I think. It smells like teeth, like wet teeth. It knocks, but the door's already open. If you find this, don't sleep. Don't ever sleep. I turned the last readable page. There was a sketch. A tall figure, arms too long, standing just outside the cabin, head bent like it couldn't fit through the door. My blood turned cold. Suddenly, I heard it again. Creak, the floorboards. But I hadn't moved. Something else had. I turned. In the doorway stood a shape thin, impossibly tall, its head tilted. I didn't see eyes. I didn't need to. It stepped inside without a sound. Its legs moved wrong, like something learning to imitate walking. I stumbled back, knocking over the chair. That sound just that made it freeze. Then its head snapped toward me. I ran, out the door, through the brush, branches tearing my arms. I didn't stop until I reached my tent. I didn't pack. I didn't take anything. Just ran. I got lost for a while. Spent half a day circling a ridge, trying to get a signal. Eventually, I found a ranger station. They didn't believe a word of it. Said no one had lived out there in over 40 years. Said they'd send someone to check it out. But Deadfall collapses all the time. When I described the cabin's location, they just went quiet. Then one of the older rangers leaned in and said, "You saw it, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He said, "You should leave something behind. It always takes something when it lets you go." I laughed, nervously, but the next day, I realized he was right. The voice in my head, that quiet voice that used to tell me right from wrong, was just gone. No guilt, no conscience, just silence where something used to be. And sometimes, when the room is quiet and the light's just right, I hear the groan of old floorboards, right behind me. I haven't slept since. Thanks for listening. If you made it to the end, let me know which story chilled you the most.